Hey Mixers, welcome back to another college football video. We're going to jump in. I know I've missed 1 week in college football that I didn't give out any props. We're going to have to review from 2 weeks ago, and then we'll go ahead and jump into this week. So let's get started on that. All right, guys. So if we take a look at a couple weeks ago, I gave you an alt team total under with Oklahoma State and Colorado. Both of those teams did stay under against good defenses, so we cashed that for plus 121. And then Cincinnati versus Iowa State. I took the alt team total under, but that did not cash for us. And then my parlay was horrible. Texas could not win in beat Florida. And then Iowa State just had a terrible showing. I still can't even believe that they didn't cash the plus 7.5. So, but our player props did pretty well. So Tommy Castellanos got there easily. Rocco Beck did not. He, like I said, had a tough game. Justice Haynes over his longest rush and LJ Martin over his longest rush. By the way, I am jumping off the train for those two players for right now, at least for this week. So we'll talk about that. But LJ Martin, BYU and the Utes are playing each other. It's a huge game. It's probably the biggest game that these teams play, when they do play each other here in Utah. And so I am completely staying away from this because it's like, good defense going up against good defense. And there's probably going to be 75 points in the game. So I'm just staying away from it. Because I don't know what's going to happen. It's a huge rivalry game. I'm not making any bets in it. All right. The leans did not do well. Carson Hansen over 65.5 rush yards. He only had 33. Antonio Williams over 16.5 receiving yards. He only had 37. And then I just put TJ Harden on the players to watch for SMU, and he only had 67. So he didn't go over, but I didn't end up betting that. But I just wanted to show you how that turned out. Okay, so the game slate for this week, the game bets that I've made, TCU is going up against Baylor. TCU is the home team, has a much better defense. Baylor is a very soft defense. So I do think TCU is going to be able to put up points here. And then it will just come down to whether or not Sawyer Robertson and Baylor can put up points on TCU. I do think they can put up some points on TCU, but ultimately I just think that TCU defense is going to win them the game. And hopefully by, a field goal is all we're asking for here. I probably wouldn't be taking this at 3, even though I think they could win by more than that. I just, under the field goal, I'm happy to take, the better defense in what could be a high scoring game, but in a game that I think TCU should be able to win easily. On top is the TCU schedule, and on bottom is the Baylor schedule. So TCU, if you look at their schedule, they've beat SMU, which is a good team, but they lost to Arizona State, which is the next best team that they've played. So they haven't really beat a bunch of good teams. And then if you look at Baylor, Baylor did beat SMU, which I would consider a decently good team. They lost to the same team, Arizona State. So I think they are pretty evenly matched. But as far as like the units, like the defensive unit for TCU versus the defensive unit for Baylor, I just think there's no contest. Like clearly TCU is better. So that's what I'm rolling with in that one. SMU at Clemson plus 9.5. If you've been betting against Clemson, you've been making a lot of money. I haven't been doing that, so I'm going to jump on that train. I'm also sprinkling a tiny, tiny bit on the SMU money line. I do think that Clemson could win this game. Obviously, they're favored to win this game by 9.5, but I do think SMU has a lot of fight in them. I love their team. I love their quarterback. We're betting on him. So I want to bet on the game as well. The top should be SMU's schedule, yeah. And then at the bottom is Clemson's schedule. So if you look at SMU's schedule, they have not really beat anyone good. And the only good team that they faced, which was TCU, they lost. They also lost to Baylor, which has a high-powered offense. So now they're going up against probably the best defense they've faced so far this year. And then at the bottom, if you look at Clemson's schedule, they've lost to LSU and Georgia Tech, which are good teams. And then they haven't beat anyone good. So I wouldn't necessarily consider SMU good, but I would consider them, a leader among the mid teams. Like they're kind of on that borderline of being good. So I do think this game should be a lot closer than the 9.5 spread suggests, and I think SMU does have a chance at least to win the game outright. All right, Mississippi State at Florida. Just straight taking the under 50.5 in this game. The first schedule you can see is Mississippi State. And then the second schedule is the Gators. Wait, no. It's the other way around. I put the Gators schedule first, Mississippi State schedule over here on the right. And you can see that they don't really play these high-flying, high-scoring games. Now, they can score 30 points if they have to, and they've done that against teams that allow it. But if you look at their schedules, like Mississippi State is probably one of the best defenses that Florida has faced, besides like maybe Miami. LSU's kind of up there also. And in the LSU and Miami game, Florida only scored 10 points and 7 points. So I don't know how many they're going to score against Mississippi State, but it isn't going to be 25, you know? And then if you look at the Mississippi State schedule, they've played a couple of tough defense. Well, actually, really just two. So they've played Arizona State defense and then the Texas A&M defense. So those are the two good defenses that they've played, and they've only put up 24 and 9. So 25 seems to be their ceiling as well. I didn't even look at the team totals. I probably should have done that, but I just think combined, they're going to stay under this number. It's two good SEC defenses going up against each other. I think Florida probably comes out with the win here, but I'm not going to be betting on that. I just want to take the under in this matchup. All right. Kevin Jennings, the quarterback for SMU at Clemson, over 256.5 passing yards. He has gone over this in 5 out of 6 games so far, including both of his losses, which they are expected to lose this game by 9.5 points if you like put any credence in the spread, which I do not. But they're projected to be losing. If they are losing, Kevin Jennings is going to be throwing the ball. He is a running quarterback, so he can rush the ball as well. But they're like, if they're down by more than a touchdown, Jennings is going to be throwing. And they're expected to lose the game by 10 points, roughly. And so, yeah, I just think he's going to be throwing here. There's no reason why the Clemson defense shouldn't allow for that throwing. So, yeah, he's been over this 5 out of 6 times. I'm just going to ride with him. Kevin Coleman, the wide receiver 1 for Mizzou, over 53.5 receiving yards at Auburn. He's only been over this 3 games, and then he missed in 3 games. Also, he was over against bad defenses. So, like in the Kansas game specifically, he had 126 yards. That's a bad defense shootout. And then against Massachusetts, obviously a huge blowout, but he did have 108 yards there. The only good team that he's really played is Alabama, where he only had 1 catch for 2 yards. So, I mean, it's kind of all over the place here. But Sawyer Robertson was able to drop like 400 plus passing yards on Auburn in week 1. So I think that Bo Prabula can do the same here for Mizzou. And some of those passes at least should go to the number 1 guy, Kevin Coleman. Okay, and then a lean on Bo Prabula, the quarterback for Mizzou, over 197.5. Again, he's only been over 3 times, and then he's been under 3 times. So this is kind of a bet on both of these players to have a good game in this Auburn matchup, where the spread is only 1. So the spread is close. It's expected to be a very, very close game. I wouldn't say either one of these teams has like a super great defense or a super bad defense. So it might be a high scoring game, but we might also see something like 25-24, 25-21, a little bit of a lower scoring game for college, but that should be plenty of points to get both of these players over these lines. All right, so here are the summary of all those bets, and then I'll tell you some players to watch that don't have lines out yet. So TCU versus Baylor, -2.5 for TCU. SMU plus 9.5 at Clemson. Mississippi State and Florida State game total to stay under 50.5. Kevin Jennings over his passing yards. Kevin Coleman over his receiving yards. And then Bo Prabula over his passing yards is the lean. And then here are some players to watch. Cade Klubnik at SMU. His passing yards has not come out yet. I don't know if he's going to play this game. I was trying to look into that because I've been a little out of touch. Sorry, guys, if I'm saying something completely stupid. But his line has not popped up yet, and I didn't see any injury. So anyway, I'll have to look into that a little bit more. Justice Haynes' longest rush is on my mind, but I want to see what it comes out at, probably around 21, 23.5. And like I said, I'm probably going to stay away from it, but I want to look at what it comes out at. And then Sam Levitt, they did finally put his passing yards up right before I posted this. So about 230 passing yards for Sam Levitt, which is a little on the higher end. His line is normally around 215 to 220. And I would have taken it there for sure. So I need to look into that more to decide if I want to take Sam Levitt. He may not even play. So that's another problem, is he might not even be playing for ASU, but maybe he is. And then Eric Singleton and Cam Coleman for Auburn. Those are 2 wide receivers. One of those guys is going to have a really good game. Probably, maybe both of them. but I can't decide which one to take. So I wanted to give them to you so that you could decide if you want to take one of those two, if you feel really good about them. I feel really good about both of their spots here, and I just don't know which way the ball is going to go. So I'm probably going to stay off of it, but I just wanted to point it out that I do think both of these players are in a good spot. All right, so that is it. So you guys know the drill. We'll go back to this screen here. You just need to choose 2 of these best bets. So I have 5 of them for you. Just choose 2 of them. Let me know in the comments which 2 you like. And if these hit for me, if your bets hit that you choose, then you'll be in the cash giveaway running with everybody else whose bets also hit. And we did have a full sweep on our Thursday Night Football video. So I will be giving away some cash on the Sunday slate video, which will be coming out probably tomorrow. And that'll be really fun to give that cash away. Thanks, guys.